Hey everybody, how we doing out there? It is Doc Severson here with ReadySetCrypto. Today is Wednesday, the 18th of January. Welcome aboard for our live webinar. So we do this from time to time, usually about every week or so. We've kind of taken the last few weeks off over the holidays and so forth. So we are back. And so we're going to be taking your requests today. We're going to be looking at the topics that you want to look at. And in the idiot savant way that I work at things, I will be looking at your charts and opining on your assets. So let's get into it here today. Let me know where you guys are coming in from. And so whether or not you're watching this live or whether you're watching this later on as a replay or archive, we'd like to welcome you to ReadySetCrypto. And good to see you guys out there. So don't forget to smash the like button to let people know, beat the algorithm, and let us know that we are talking here today. Let me know where you guys are coming in from. And I'd love to hear what coin or asset or pair, especially, that you would like to see. So I'll have a little bit of starting dialogue here and what I see happening in the market. And during that time, you're welcome to write in, chat in, make this session your own, get something out of it. Welcome aboard, everybody. Good to see you out there. Man, it is 65 degrees and sunny outside. Summer has bypassed, or winter has bypassed South Carolina so far, and could not be happier for that. So outstanding. All right, so let's talk about what we saw today. What do we see today? Well, the Fed. Everything's about the Fed, and I'm sure you guys are tired of hearing about the Fed, but unfortunately the Fed drives everything. Everything it gets its greedy meat hooks around. Now, the Fed didn't really drive anything 5-6 years ago when, 2017 bull rally, or even to some degree, the 2021 rally didn't really affect things at all because interest rates are basically zero at the time. And it's only since the time that interest rates have been rising that they've come into correlation with all the other risk assets out there, i.e. stocks, things like that. Hey, Joe, good to see you. Good to see you, DDN buddy. Welcome aboard, guys. Where are you guys coming in from? Let me know. Let me know where you guys are coming in from. I'd like to see where people are logging in from these days. So since the Fed has been raising rates in their the way that they're trying to, battle inflation, which to some degree I think is already way past. This is what's been happening since October. This is the bond market basically saying, hey, Fed, you're already done. You are already done. And something that we saw today was like PPI final demand came in today and was negative. So that's wholesale inflation. So what that means is we're already starting to turn the corner in terms of inflation. Hey, Joaquin, good to see you. George, Mexico City. Now it's all about monetary policy and nothing else. That's kind of the way it's been for a long time in every other market. I mean, when I first got into this business maybe 15 years ago, it was all about monetary policy. It was all about Alan Greenspan, and whenever he spoke, all of a sudden everything would come to a halt. And then it was Ben Bernanke. Whenever he spoke, everything would come to a halt because it was all about monetary policy. Now, when crypto first got off the ground, and even up until 2017, nobody really linked the crypto markets to anything at all. And so they could rally, do whatever they were going to do without really any linkage to monetary policy. But now that world has changed, and that's because we now have 4.5-5% rates out there, and that's a discount rate. But this is what the bond market's saying. I'm already down here to 3.4%. So the bond market is way ahead of the Fed. So there may be some possibility that by the end of the year, the Fed's cutting rates. So this actually is good that rates are coming down because that gives crypto a shot. And this is what all changed a couple of weeks ago when the CPI report came out. CPI report came out and said, hey, consumer inflation has already peaked. And so lots of money went into crypto. All right, let's see. Hemisphere is coming in from Edmonton, Alberta. Joe, I don't really follow the yen. I'm not really a currency guy per se. I'm not really a currency guy. You know, I'm just barely mentally capable of handling a crypto pair versus the US dollar. So really that's all I specialize in is the US dollar. I'm not one of these forward exchange gurus that follows different pairs. Some of the guys that are on this channel do, and they know a lot of those things, but mentally I'm incapable of following more than one currency. Robert, I will certainly chart Hex for you. Thank you very much. So guys, let me know what assets that you would like to see, and I will do that. All right, so let's go into crypto. What am I seeing with crypto? Is this the beginning of something big, or is it just another bear market rally? Well, so here's the thing. And of course, this is Bitcoin versus US dollar. We've seen Bitcoin come up to an equal high from before the FTX debacle, right? So that's all it's been able to do so far. It's just kind of come up to equal the highs from back here. Now, before I'm going to go all in on something like that, first of all, a couple of things. I want to see the price continue to trade above the 200-day moving average. If you guys have followed me for any length of time, I am not about, hey, let's see what dip I can buy. Let's see if I can buy the lowest dip that's out there and publish that on Twitter and show everybody how great I am at dip buying. Well, that's not been working so well for, a long time now, for the past, coming up on a year and a half. So it's not my intention to buy the lowest dip. Nobody gets a medal for buying the low tick in any market. What you do get paid for is playing in the meat of the move. So all I'm looking for is assets that are going higher in price. And some of them actually are starting to go higher in price, which is good news. So you don't have to get the very bottom tick. I mean, that's often romanticized in some of the forums and some of the subreddits that's out there. Hey, everybody, look at me. Look at the bottom tick that I get. And then, 6 months later, they're posting loss porn and how much money they lost. It doesn't matter. All your job is to try to get the meat of the move. You don't have to get the very top. You don't have to get the very bottom. All your job is to get the meat in the middle of the move and avoid the next distribution leg. Okay? So that's it. So as I see the price trading at an equal level, a couple of things that I want to see right now, and this is in Bitcoin. If we see a high and tight, this is what's called a high and tight consolidation. If we see high and tight, which means that the price basically is just going to shuttle around in this small range there, and believe it or not, that's a 1,000-point range. So it's not necessarily small, but it's small enough right now. If we see it pull into a high and tight, that's actually good, because high and tight means that it's achieving linearity, and there's a much higher probability that it will break out and go into more of these stair-stepping type of modes. What we want is stair-stepping price action, where it just consolidates for a long time, and then you see the thing rip up to the next level. So it's almost like, think about climbing stairs, exactly like that. That's the type of price action that we want to see. What we don't want to see is we don't want to see this thing coming back down to there and doing that again, because that shows that this is just another bear market rally. Okay, cool. All right, so that's my read on things. And again, for a bellwether, it's hard to beat Bitcoin and Ethereum. They're basically doing the same exact thing. So far, I like what they're doing. They're trading in a small, high and tight consolidation. And you can also see if we go over to the RSI Laguerre, we're building up energy. This is exhausted right now. Range expansion is going to range contraction. This is good. This is all fine. And this is why I said a few days ago, don't be like that dog that chases cars, right? Don't chase after rallies. Anticipate breakouts, anticipate pullbacks to support, those kind of things. Don't trade with the herd. Don't ever chase a market. Don't ever chase a market. Okay, so let us get into some of your requests. We'll be here for, maybe another 15, 20 minutes or so. Usually the bottom of the hour, we're usually wrapping things up after about 30 minutes. So that's about as much as I want to bore you guys today. All right, so let's get into your request. So Robert was looking for Hex. So let's take a look at Hex here. And Hex usually has a couple of different manners in which you can trade it. There's Hex the market cap. Let me try trading this or charting this first. Let's go to just price action. Let's see if there's any other better charts. Let's see versus USDC. No, that's about the same. And right now, if you see this green line, the green line shows the 200-day moving average. Generally, what I want to be seeing, Robert, is before I go long on something, I want it to be trading above the 200. That represents the mean, right? So you're either above the mean or you're below the mean. Like in an IQ test, I'm more of a room temperature guy myself, IQ, but 100 is supposed to be the mean, right? So you want to be above the mean when you can, or below the mean. In this case, you want to be above the mean before you go long. So half the time, though, I'm anticipating that most of the people that are asking about an asset are holding onto a bag and are wondering just what to do with it. But if I were you right now, if you wanted to get into this asset, I would wait until it breaks above there and establishes a base of support above the 200-day moving average. Okay, so that is Hex for Roberto. Okay, so Joaquin wants to look at XMR. Monero. Let's look at Monero. Okay, so here's Monero. And so Monero is actually just on the brink of starting to make something happen here, right? So look at the polarity change that we have here. Lower highs, lower lows, lower highs, lower, higher low. There's a higher low, and here's a higher high. It's breaking above a descending pattern, so that's good. Okay, so it's built up into a nice, nice parabolic run move up to the upside where people are chasing after it. Now it's pulling back. So my comments are still the same on this as everything else. I want to see a high and tight consolidation. I would prefer, Joaquin, not to see it go all the way back down to test the breakout area. So that testing breakout area would be somewhere on the order of 154, 155, something like that. That's still valid if it does it, as long as it breaks above there. It is a technical violation if it pulls back down into the pattern. So if it pulls down and closes down below 154-ish, that's bad. That's bad. So what it's doing right now is very positive. It's very constructive. I hope it keeps in that manner, right? Okay, let's go into Paul Lindsay wants to do veg. Okay, let's see. Veggie. So I'm assuming that you're talking about veggie.finance versus Vega, because veg and Vega are two different things. So we'll go with Veggie Finance, and this is almost unchartable. So is that the one that you wanted, or did you want Vega? Because this is the only thing that I can chart on Veggie Finance. Oh, okay. So you meant VeChain. All right. So never mind. Never mind. Accuracy matters. Accuracy matters. VeChain. Forget about my comments on Veg or Veggie Finance. All right. So here is VeChain. Here is VeChain. Or as they like to say, WeChain. This is WeChain here. So VeChain is below the 200-day moving average and is still making lower highs and lower lows. Yeah, load up on veg. Yeah, Veggie Finance. Everybody get your veggies and get into Veggie Finance. That's about as much shilling as I'll do today. There we go. So VeChain is still making lower highs and lower lows. So right now I would be standing off to the distance, watching VeChain and going, show me the fact that you want to accumulate. Show me accumulation in price before I get into this. Again, you don't want to be caught up trying to pick the bottom. Don't pick your bottom. down here. Wait until things start to break above descending patterns. Rule number 3, fractal energy trading. Descending patterns will eventually break to the upside. So put your filters in here and just don't even watch it until it breaks there. You can actually set up an alert on these on TradingView. It's really good for this. You can set an alert, add an alert, crossing value. I think you can add it to a trend line as well too. I'm pretty sure you can. Add alert on trend line. Oh my God, it's right there. So yeah, you can. There's it's very powerful. You can set up an alert on it. So I would look for a closing price above that alert. Look for a closing price. Don't fall for the old, hey, it touched the trend line. Okay. So there is VeChain for the poll. Okay. Oh, I just filled a trade. Hang on a second. I got to mark that I filled a trade. Have you guys ever seen the movie Glenn Ross? I know it's like it came out 800 years ago, but there's a great scene in there that is, there's a great scene from, who is Alec Baldwin? And usually I don't match great scene and Alec Baldwin in the same sentence, but he had a great scene in that movie, Glenn Ross. And one of the things that he was trying to tell the salespeople there, he was coming in from downtown to tell the salespeople, always be closing. ABC, always, A always, BB, C closing, always be closing. And that's what I use. Always be closing positions. Sell into strength. Don't be afraid to trade. You can always get back into a position if you want to. Right now is very much a trader's market. Get in, get your fair share, always be closing. ABC. ABC. Second place is a set of steak knives. Okay, so let me hurry up here. By MDB and Sphere, then you're all set. Okay, so let's look at these quickly. I'm going to MDB, wrapped BNB. Okay, I don't know if that's what you're referring to. Let's try Sphere. Sphere. Let's try this versus BTC. Now, this is starting to get somewhere. Sphere is starting to get somewhere. Again, this is calculated by TradeView. This is on Bittrex. And this is, at least on Bittrex, this is not the type of asset that I want to be trading. Anytime you see like gappy, crappy price action like this, and you can see this with your eye, where you have literally days where the price doesn't move at all. It just doesn't trade. You don't want to be trading something like that because you'll get your stops run through, you'll get manipulated, you'll have people, maybe positively, but usually it works against the herd. And I won't trade assets like this. So train your eye to look for illiquid assets like this. Okay. What do you expect the DXY to do against BTC? Well, I expect you to die. Well, let's see. Can we actually trade this against? Let's try. We can do the inverse of that. All we can do is the inverse of that, which is BTC USD. So if you're going long BTC, you're going short the dollar. And right now, just looking at the dollar index, DXY, dollar index is going down. Somebody pushed the down button on the dollar index. So this is actually going to help risk assets like BTC. So as long as this relationship continues and BTC at least holds its value, that's going to be positive for BTC. All right, can I chart Zen for a laugh? XEN. Okay, I don't. No. Okay, let's move on from that one. All right. Okay, so Joaquin, we did XMR. Let's do SCRT. I don't like this one. It's still below the 200. That's on Kraken. I'm sure it wouldn't be that much different. AKT. Let's do that versus the US dollar. Again, this is on Kraken. It's still below the 200. Dude, you keep chasing after these things that keep dropping in price. Like, find something that's, accumulating. So look at Monero. Look at Monero. And that's the sort of chart, that's the sort of beginning that we're looking for. All these assets like this that are doing that, there's plenty of them in crypto which are doing the same thing, which are just, rolling around in the gutter. Don't get caught by stuff rolling around in the gutter and saying, well, it's cheap. Well, it can become cheaper. That's the problem with this stuff. Let's see, Algorand. I think this one is also kind of, last time I looked at this one, it was not doing well. It's still below the 200. And so therefore, I would not look at this. EGLD. I haven't looked at this since we did a session in here. EGLD. Look at this. There's all exactly the same. Look, you've got assets that are out there like Litecoin, which are ripping. And, above the 200 and making higher highs and higher lows. They're tradable assets. So you have a choice. You don't have to go after assets like EGLD, unless you're holding bags in it, in which case I understand why you're asking. Like, what should I do? What you do is next time you go long on an asset, make sure you have a stop before you enter the position. That's rule number one of risk management. FET versus Fetch AI. Oh, look at that one. Now we're talking. There you go. Beautiful. That is, see, this is what an explosion from a base looks like. And I would assume that this has something to do with AI based on the name. Right? So this is the sort of thing that you want. Now, don't chase after this. Please do not chase after this. What you want to do is you want to wait for this to consolidate and then build up enough energy and look for an advantageous entry for this. So to me, what this is starting to look like is a base within a base, right? So this is just a weekly swing up. This is not a change in polarity yet. So what you want to see is you want to see a weekly higher low and then followed by a higher high, and then you can jump all over this thing. But it's still cheap, right? It's still cheap. You don't have to get the very bottom. But this is the sort of thing that it's starting to show. The market is saying, hey, I want to accumulate this asset. So this is a great start. Pick your spots. Pick your risk on this one. So that's a good one. I like that. Let's see, FTM. Let's go to FTM. Phantom. Ooh, not so good. Not too bad. Okay, so this is starting to break. All right, the weekly chart didn't look very good, but this one is just starting the process of breaking. This, to me, if you pull back and look at this is more of a rounded base. And I would be waiting until it gets above 40 cents. It's worth waiting until 40 cents. Otherwise, you can get caught up in all this crap down here. So wait until it shows you that it wants to get above 40 cents. All right. So that's for Joe. Okay, Hex. All right, Joshua. Welcome, Joshua. Let's look at Telcoin. Okay, so here's Telcoin. Telcoin is putting in its base. And so what I would want to see on this one, this is not good. This is not good that it spent the whole month of December selling off. So what this implies to me is that this is going to be a lower high followed by a lower low. Now, that could be wrong, but I would want to wait until this thing is able to break out. I mean, it's not like we're talking about a whole lot of money on this thing. It's still a very, very inexpensive asset. So I would avoid the noise and wait until the market starts to really, truly accumulate this one. It started off good, but people chose to spend their money elsewhere, and it stopped accumulating. So people change their mind on it. Only price pays. So that's Telcoin, and let's look at QNT. QNT versus Tether, and this one is also, God, this looks almost the same. It's trading above the 200. That's good. Will this fall into a nice tight consolidation? Don't know, but it's got a good start. It's got a good start on QNT, and then API 3. API 3. Let's get that through. This is Tether. Still below the 200, still making lower highs and lower lows. I would avoid. Any advice on leverage trading? You know what, Joe? I've got a whole course on this stuff. Like, how do you get into something like that? And I think one of the biggest issues that people run into is that they set their stops too tight and they set it based on leverage. So I don't think people should be trading with too much leverage. And if you do, I mean, I think the easiest way to get into this is trade something with spot and then set it up. It's what I call a Viking funeral trade, a Viking funeral trade. Viking funerals are where they would put somebody in a boat, light the whole thing on fire, push it off from shore, and then say, well, we'll see what happens, right? And that's the attitude that you have to have when you trade a directional trade is you can't have any kind of, tight stop with these things like, oh my God, I hope it doesn't come back and hit this spot. Because it will. It will, especially if your asset is fairly illiquid. It'll run all over the place. It'll get manipulated everywhere. And you'll get stopped out. And it sucks. I hate that. So if I'm truly want to speculate on something, what I'll do is I'll use a small position size to the point where that represents 2% of my capital or less. And I'll size the entire position and then I'll say, let it go. I'll size the entire position to 2% and I'll just let it run. And that to me is the lowest stress way to trade these days. Now, you can't really do that with leverage, though, because if you're trading futures, you're taking a ride in an Uber. You don't own the asset. You're basically leasing a ride on that thing. And you can't afford to not have a stop when you're trading leverage. So just be careful with that. Okay, let's see what else we got here. Cut up to the V-chain. Thoughts on Solana. Again, I'm not the guy to ask about whether an asset is any good or not, or fundamentally correct or anything like that. I think there's some people that are good at that. I'm not good at that. All I'm good at is reading what the price is telling me. It's not. When I first broke into this business, I used to spend all this time on fundamental research of things. And to me, fundamental research on crypto is a waste of time now. Everything that you need to know is baked into the price right now. And everything is speculative, right? Everything is speculative. There's no earnings. There's no fundamental intrinsic value behind a coin, right? So you can't process a market value based on forward earnings from it. You can't do that. So what can you do? You can let the rest of the market tell you whether or not it's accumulating or not. So I just don't care about anything like as to whether or not, is Solana, is it tied in with FTX? And oh no, should we get the hell out of it? And, is it dead? I don't know. Right now, all I know is it's below the 200-day moving average. It's not making higher highs. So I would not be investing in Solana right now until it starts to break that. Until it starts, let somebody else do the heavy lifting right off the ground, right? Just go for a piggyback. Go for a little ride in the meat of the move. Okay. Hey there, Enthosapien. How's it going? Any thoughts on Bifrost, BNC? Bifrost versus Tether. I can't hear the term Bifrost without hearing it in, Chris Hemsworth voice. It's in the Bifrost. Well, it's a nice move, but you can tell that this thing is just, the liquidity on this Bifrost, at least on KuCoin here, just totally sucks because it just gets pushed all over the place. So if you want a wild ride, you can go for it on here. I'm not a big fan of, chasing after just, one day wonder candlestick like what we're seeing here back-to-back days. So I would want to see this thing in a period of accumulation for quite some time. That's for Andy. Hold on. I've got a webinar tonight. How am I going to do that? All right, so let's go to AGIX. Now that's a good one. Check that. Okay. Yeah, I like that. That's good. That's good. That's on the daily chart. We're getting some good accumulation. It's pretty sloppy. So you can see this is kind of like a game changer. This is where it's just being tossed back and forth. And then all of a sudden you got some volume coming in, accumulating. So this is good. I'd like to see it be a little bit more linear, build into that stair-stepping pattern. Okay, there's Joe. You're welcome, Joshua. Joe, let's see. Have I seen Toncoin? Oh, yeah. Yeah, we were long on Toncoin a little bit back here. So Toncoin, this is a chart that looks good. Okay? As opposed to other charts which basically look like this, are just like rolling around in the gutter. They're playing in the sewer. This is a chart that as of November, when the world was falling apart, Toncoin is starting to accumulate and setting up bases with higher highs, higher lows, retesting important levels and rejecting from them. This is good. This is what a decent chart looks like. Now, if it starts trading below $2 again, then I'm going to change my mind. But this is an accumulation. This is a decent looking chart. Decent looking chart. Okay. Let's see. Basic attention token. It's been a while since I've looked at this one. It's still below the 200, still making lower lows, lower highs. That's why I don't know anything about it lately. It's not on my radar right now. Okay, and let's see. Let's go through a couple more. One XTP, tap fantasy. No, I hope it's not that. XTP, let's try that. Oh, there we go. Okay, so that, there we go. That's a little bit better. So here's one that's just utter noise, and then all of a sudden this thing is ripping. So that looks good. I mean, this is like a dog whistle to the entire crypto community, right? This is a dog whistle to Twitter. Don't chase after this type of stuff. Do not chase after it. Wait until it swings down to a higher low. And it would be good also, too, to be able to show a decent fib retracement on this one. So if you're taking this from here up to here, you'd want to be looking for an entry, maybe 38.2, 50%, or as deep as 61.8. No deeper than that. No deeper than 61.8. So if it just comes down here and it finds some support, then that's a good entry for that. Okay. Binance Coin. VIP, I kind of covered that at the very beginning. I think this is still a trader's market. I don't think this is the bottom just yet. You'll know when the bottom is behind us. You will know. And everybody's impatient for that. Everybody wants to know when moon But to me, it's still just a trader's market. All right, let's go to Binance Coin. Binance Coin, this has been, Binance Coin has had to go through some FUD repudiation here. And so this whole area down here was FUD. Oh, CZ, you say one thing and you do another, all of this was just FUD down here. And, guys, regardless of what you think of him, we kind of do need Binance right now. Without Binance, we got the three arrows guys that want to create another centralized broker. No, we don't need those. We don't need those ass clowns building another broker site. You kind of need Binance to hold down the fort for through this bear market. So it's like lay off CZ, let this thing restore itself. So it looks like FUD has been avoided for right now, but it's got some work to do. It's got some work to do. Well, the VIP, the reason why we moved like we did was because of the CPI 2 weeks ago. So again, like it or not, we are tied in with the Fed. We are tied in with all these economic reports that we see. And we saw the PPI came in weak this morning, which means that the measures are already underway. They're already having an effect on inflation. Supply side inflation has already peaked. That's what this is showing. But you've got Fed members going, yep, by God, we're going to keep whipping this thing until it dies. And the Fed's just going to go too far. And this is why we're seeing this market reaction today. This is why it feels weird. It's just going to feel like that for a while. Okay, so let me do my last one here, and then I will bid you guys adieu for today. OMI. Yeah, what do you think here? So this one seems to have some kind of correlation with, again, I don't know a thing about this asset, but somehow it got wrapped up in the whole FTX debacle because, so I don't know whether this was, funded through FTX or Alameda or has anything to do with it, but that's awfully, it's awfully strong correlation with what happened at the time. So maybe somebody can instruct me. Like I said, idiot savant here. So, okay, guys, that's all she wrote for today. So I want to thank you guys for joining us here live, or if you are joining us through a replay, great, awesome. Let me know how I can help the next time. I do have I've been working my tail off on the new member site. You guys are going to love it because it's all going to be about trading and signals. It's all going to be about trading and signals. It's going to take everything that ReadySetCrypto has been doing over the last 6 years and kind of condense it down into actionable stuff. So instead of just being this sort of like vague, super site of crypto, which is really honestly what we had to do 6 years ago because there was so much out there. Now it's simplified. And that's what we're going to do is we're going to simplify everything. So I can't wait to share that with you. I got to get it done probably by the end of the month, and then I'll give you guys a tour and show you what it's all about. Thank you, everybody. I appreciate the time and attention and all your interaction. You guys are awesome. So hopefully we'll see you next week. Adios, amigos. Bye now.